Hello, everybody. My name is Scott Vandavander. I am the program director for the Radiologic Technology program here at Catawba Valley Community College. I was asked to share some thoughts with you guys, and I'm just going to read some questions off and answer them as I go to get a little bit of an insight as to me and exactly what the RadTech program here is at CVCC. The first thing it asked for is a little bit of a background on myself. Grew up in Baltimore, got my undergrad degree in human resource management, and the main job that I had at that point was, after graduation, was as a recruiting specialist. So I was helping people find jobs in different areas. One of those was healthcare related. So how I kind of got to where I'm at is my last job as a recruiting specialist. I actually placed X-ray technologists into jobs all throughout Western Pennsylvania. So that's a little bit of a back door to say as to how I got into this field. I was interested in healthcare and helping people. I actually placed X-ray techs in their jobs and was finding more and more out about the education and about the job itself. So that's what kind of got me interested in the field. Education needed. In order to be an X-ray tech or a radiologic technologist, you do have to attend an accredited program. CVCC does have one of those types of programs. Generally speaking, they are 2-year programs. There is some prerequisite courses that you would need before you could get into the program. Those are mainly everything that you're going to need for a general associate's degree. And specifically with us, we have some A&P courses, so anatomy and physiology courses that you'd have to take before you could get into the program. Are there other avenues to this particular type of degree? There are other colleges throughout Pennsylvania. If you already have a bachelor's degree, then you can go to a school where you don't need the associates. You have to have an associate's to sit for your national certification exam when you're done. But if you've already got a bachelor's, then you can go to a school that's accredited but doesn't carry the associates. So there are some for-profit schools that offer that as well. I would say to go to a 2-year junior level college like Catawba Valley Community College, simply because the cost effectiveness for you, if you're looking for this background, it's hard to beat. So how did I know I wanted to pursue this career? Again, I talked about how I was a recruiting specialist, and the people that I was placing gave me a lot of insight into it. I always knew I wanted to help people in some way, shape, or form. The teaching part of it I got into because I went to a hospital-based program where all of our clinical rotations were inside of one hospital. That school ended up needing someone to teach on a short-term basis. I had a bachelor's degree already, so I was qualified to teach. So started teaching there and then moved to North Carolina and continued that teaching process. Least rewarding aspects of my job. As far as the X-ray tech side of things, I talked about helping people. It's also a very interesting career. So I'm interested in healthcare and finding out exactly how things tick. So seeing the inner workings and seeing exactly what's going on with a patient, that's very interesting to me. As far as the teaching side of things, my current job is teaching here at CVCC. I really get interested in seeing the light bulb go off with students. So some of the courses here are science and nature, and there are a couple of entry-level physics types classes. With seeing that light bulb go off in students, that's the most rewarding job part of this job here. Least rewarding aspects of the job, I mean, it's not comfortable having to deal with uncomfortable patients as a technologist. There's some exams that are a little intrusive with patients that we have to do. It's for their best interest. But you're not comfortable, they're not comfortable either. It's a lot of times it's working with the patients to see the best way to get through an exam, and working together to get there. Least rewarding part of the teaching side of the job, I guess having to discipline students that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing in clinical rotations, because there are clinical components with our program. That's probably the least rewarding part of this job. I like to see students succeed, but don't necessarily like to see them fail or do things that they're not supposed to be doing when they're in clinical. So hurdles I had to overcome in order to reach the position I'm in. Well, that's a couple-fold. I had to go back to school to get my 2-year education in the healthcare field, and I already had a 4-year degree that I was working in for a handful of years. So going back to school as a non-conventional student, I was in my late 20s when I went back to college. Kind of had to relearn a little bit how to learn in a classroom environment. So if you're interested in anything, go get the education when you're younger. It's a lot easier. You're used to having a schedule and you have a learning process. So going back after I was a little bit older was probably the hardest part of getting my degree and getting back into the education and the healthcare side of things. Typical job duties day to day. Mine, teaching courses and then grading, setting up assessments. And because I'm the program director, I not only deal with general x-ray, I also work with mammography and CT, which is offered here at Catawba Valley Community College. So setting up all of the assessments and things like that for all three of those programs are the job duties. As far as being an x-ray tech working in the field, you're working in healthcare field facilities, like hospitals, orthopedic centers, outpatient clinics to take x-rays on patients. And you're actually doing that when you come to school for our degree. So not only will you have didactic classes where you're sitting in class and we're lecturing you and you're doing labs and having some hands-on experience, you also have clinical rotations where you're going to these same hospitals and healthcare facilities and you're working with real-life patients, taking real-life x-rays. You're just supervised by someone that's already registered as a technologist. It's interesting to see the shift work that happens with hospitals. Outpatient facilities are more 9-to-5 type jobs, no weekends, but the hospitals have a lot quicker pace. So if you're interested in a high pace, hospitals might be the way to go. If you're looking for a more conventional schedule, 9-to-5, then outpatients and orthopedic centers may be your way to go. Most important skills needed for the job: propensity for knowledge as far as the science side of things is concerned. As far as soft skills, I would say interpersonal skills with patients. Again, they're coming to hospitals in these locations to get x-rays, but they don't necessarily feel the best. So compassion, sympathy, dealing with patient care, that's probably the most important skill in our field. With people that have had CNA experience and actually any type of customer service experience in retail or as a waiter or waitress, those things tend to lend themselves to success in our programs because you're working with the general public, which in healthcare, you're going to be working with the general public. Closing advice, if you're interested in healthcare, I will say nail your science classes, especially the A&P classes. They will give you a great foundation as far as what you're going to be getting into. Math classes as well. There's some physics involved with ours. It's very little, but there is a little bit of physics involved with our program and some of the other healthcare programs throughout CVCC. So if healthcare is the way you want to go, I would definitely key in on those two areas as far as classes are concerned. Outside of that advice, just be open to new things. The radiologic technology program is ever changing. The knowledge that we learn now may change a little bit 5 to 10 years from now. So even the job responsibilities are changing, ever changing. We used to use film, like old school photography film. If you've ever seen a movie and they're hanging up films and processing them, that's how x-rays used to be taken. Now everything's digital. Now that took a few years, a few more than 5 to change that over, but the change week to week could be different in stature and in your daily responsibilities. So being flexible definitely is a good thing to have. I'm glad I could reach out and tell you a little bit about our program. If you have any other questions, please reach out to me. My email address is svandevander, VANDEVANDER @cvcc.edu. And again, this is the wonderful world of X-ray. Hope to see some of you.